importance of National Ag Day cannot be overstated. Tonight, we're exploring the evolution of farming, the pivotal role of organizations like the FFA, and the groundbreaking innovations from CLAAS, a company that's been at the forefront of agricultural machinery innovation for over a century. Good evening. Welcome to Rural America Live. I'm Christina Loren. This upcoming Tuesday, you definitely want to mark your calendar for March 19th. It's National Ag Day. We want to make sure that it is celebrated appropriately this year. And to get a jump start on the celebration, joining us tonight, we have three remarkable agriculturalists here to bring their unique perspectives to the table for this roundtable discussion that we are going to invite you in just a few moments. Before we introduce our panel, I want to let you know that tonight, one lucky caller will win a CLAAS Pelican Elite 50-quart cooler. So stick around. We're going to give out that number in just moments, and you can be a winner. Now, if you don't call in, you don't win that way. We've got another way for you to win. You can register. At home, all you got to do is use your smartphone. You might want to grab it right now. I'm going to give you a little bit of time to do so. We'll keep this up on the screen. If you scan that QR code, or just go ahead and hop on your computer or your phone and visit agday.claas.com. You can register there, and we will give away a second cooler that way. The winner will be announced on Ag Day, March 19th, which is what our show is all about. So let's introduce our guest this evening. CLAAS America's Region Senior Vice President Eric Raby is with us, also former FFA State Officer for the Iowa chapter and current CLAAS intern. Rachel Tunison is with us. We're excited to hear from you tonight. Also, FFA State President for the Kansas chapter, Christian Pena, is with us tonight. We have a lot to go over. We're excited to have some young people talking about agriculture, helping us all to get inspired about the future of the industry. Before we jump into the conversation, though, let's learn a little bit about each of you. Eric, tell us a little bit about your background and the role that you play with CLAAS.
Sure. Thank you, Christina. We're so glad to be here, and I'm so glad that we've got two members of the FFA here. I got my start on a family farm not too far from here in Kentucky. Was an FFA member. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. Been in the ag equipment industry now for over 35 years in different parts of the world, in Europe and South America, Asia. But I currently serve to look after all the commercial business for CLAAS in North and South America.
Wow, you have a very important job. CLAAS is a very well-respected name in the industry. I'm sure if you're joining us and you're part of the ag industry, you know about CLAAS. If you're not part of the ag industry, stick around because we get to tell you about why it's so exciting right now to be a part of feeding the world and all the strides that have been made. We are excited to have you on with us, and we're going to talk to you in just a moment. But Eric, tell us a little bit about why highlighting the FFA and the impact it's having on our youth for the future of ag is so important.
Well, like I said before, it was obviously an integral part of my upbringing. It is near and dear to my heart, even to this day. So many experiences that I was able to have in terms of not only learning more about agriculture, but really about leadership. And I think you're going to see that exemplified tonight with Rachel and with Christian as we talk about different things. But really, we're also talking about National Ag Day that's coming up as well. And what better way to really kick off something that talks about agriculture holistically than a really great youth organization like the FFA that's going to be really pivotal in continuing to spread the message about agriculture in the United States.
Yes, and this is one of those days I feel like each year it comes and goes, and we don't pay enough attention because it's so important. So I love the fact that you're here to draw attention to this early on. Before we talk more about National Ag Day, Eric, tell us a little bit about your background, if you will.
Okay, my background, I showed some pictures earlier of my youth in FFA, so I do have a number of corduroy jackets somewhere.
Do they still fit?
I'm not going to go into that, but I have them somewhere, and I will get them out someday. But no, I think, I was thinking about it earlier, and we talk about the FFA and a lot of the changes that it's made, and they've been really good changes. If I look at some of the evolutional changes that the FFA has made, it's really not only kept a lot of the basis that gave me leadership qualities or gave me experiences in different parts of agriculture, but it's really bringing more people in, being more inclusive now. And the membership numbers are tremendous, and Christian and Rachel will talk a little bit about that. But no, the FFA, I go back to my advisors, Mr. Barnes and Mr. Milliken. I'll never forget them. And they encouraged me to do things that they knew that I was probably not very good at. And I certainly knew that I wasn't. But it forced me to think about things from a different perspective, to try things, to plan for things, to make accommodations, and then see what your results are. And not only does that teach you about agriculture or that project that you were working on at that time, it taught you how to plan, how to adapt, and then also what leadership qualities that you gain from that experience. So again, I can't say enough good things about the FFA.
Okay. Well, now we get to hear directly from the corduroy jacket across from us. And also to reach the level of president of any chapter, it's not an easy thing to do. It's very difficult. So we applaud you both for your hard work within the FFA organization. Rachel, tell us a little bit about your background and what Ag Day means to you.
Yeah, so I grew up on a farm in Northwest Iowa, got experience with row crops and little livestock, but that's where I was raised, and I got heavily involved in FFA. Like, I didn't think I'd like it, and then I loved it. It was so crazy how it happened, and then I continued to grow, and I got the opportunity to go to CLAAS, and just my eyes were opened even further. It was, I love it. But Ag Day to me, it's more than just like another day on the calendar. It's one of those days where you get to celebrate the people who are in agriculture, the farmers, but the engineers as well, everybody who has a hand in it. And there's a lot of those people. So it's a day to celebrate and honor them, but also to kind of reflect on the ways of the past and how we've come from struggles and how we keep advancing and bettering ourselves for the future.
For the future, to feed a growing population, a hungry world, hungry kids. That's the work that our farmers do. That's who you're feeding. It has to feel good to know that we're able to do more with less this day and age. And I mean, you've been able to witness that. Tell us a little bit about your background, Christian, and some of the remarkable facts that need to be pointed out about those changes in agriculture.
Yeah, so thanks for having us tonight. I think one thing that I'd really like to point out is I don't come from a traditional ag background. I didn't grow up on a farm. I grew up in a community that was very heavily all about agriculture. So from a very young age, I dove deep into what agriculture was all about. And growing up, my parents owned a construction demolition company. So we built things like feedlots and things like that. So that's really where the love for ag came from. But moving forward from my time in the FFA, I've gotten to dive deeper because I have such a fresh mind for it. But getting to dive deep into some of the facts that are very present, and the first thing that comes to mind is 50 years ago we only had each American farmer was only feeding 72 people. We fast forward to 50 years ahead to 2024 now. The average farmer feeds more than 165 people today.
Wow.
So, and that's thanks to just remarkable technology and advancements in our industry. And while National Ag Day may be a time for farmers to celebrate their achievements, it's also a time for us to come together and appreciate all that the ag industry offers to us. If it wasn't for the ag industry, we wouldn't have a roof over our heads, and we wouldn't have food to eat every night. And with the growing population, it's important that we continue to champion what the ag industry has to offer for all of us.
Absolutely. I think David Hula, farmer from Charles City, Virginia, set a new world record corn yield in 2023, 623 bushels per acre. Did you ever think that would be possible in your lifetime?
Gonna have to increase the horsepower on all of our combines.
It's fascinating to understand the impacts of how the landscape has changed, given that we're talking about the establishment of National Ag Day happened in 1973. Talk a little bit more about how it's changed.
Well, I think the basic premise, that's over 50 years ago, was really, really kind of brought forward by the Agricultural Council of America to really talk about agriculture to a much broader audience. If you go back in history in the United States, there were a lot of people involved in agriculture in the 30s, and then we've gone through quite an evolution, if you will, of people moving away from the farm or whatever. But inherently, agriculture is still so important, and I think that's what National Ag Day's premise is, or the main driver of the message is to, first of all, let people know where their food and fiber come from. You know, where does this egg come from? Where does this come from an agricultural standpoint? But I think also to be an advocate for agriculture, to let people realize how important it is, not only to just feeding ourselves or clothing ourselves or whatever, but to the true fiber of our society. I mean, it's very, very important. And I think National Ag Day over time tries to do that not only throughout the year, but that one day a year that we have that, really shout that message from the rooftops.
Well, I think it's people like you all sitting around this table who bring such a great respect from the American population to the ag industry. Good people, the salt of the earth, as I like to think of them, people who work hard, who go home, who pray at night, who love their families, who love their country. I am so blessed to be a part of this industry, and I think that the way that you represent yourselves, the way you carry yourselves within the FFA organization is such a part of why that respect has been established amongst the American people. There are 5 areas of focus for tonight. Let's start with yield.
So yeah, if we talk about yield and we look at, you know, I keep using this word evolution. And if we go back and we look at the 70s and the 80s and we look at the yields that were talked about a little bit by Christian there, and talk about this yield of 600 bushels of corn per acre, it's obvious we've made some strides. But if I look at it in terms of really what we're looking at, and you can see on the screen there, we were back in 73 at 74 bushels per acre on corn on average, and now that is well over on dryland corn, 177 bushels per acre. And that really came as a result of genetic modification, which has been a really good, I would say, evolution of what we can do in a short amount of time. A lot of people have sometimes negative connotations, but all we're doing is we're taking a natural occurrence and just speeding it up.
That's it.
That's all it is. And I think the yields have been very positively impacted by that, but also traits. If you look at different traits, whether it's resistance to certain drought conditions or wet conditions or whatever, it's really given us the opportunity through, I would call seed evolution, to really make an impact on yields. I would say that the second area is the farm size. If you take a look, a lot of people have, I would say, and I do too, to a certain degree, that farms are only getting larger, larger, larger. They are, but not as large as you might think they are. If you take the average number of farms, yes, that average number of farms has come down over the years, but the average acres per farm is pretty static. It's not too, it's somewhere in that 400 to 425 acres per farm. What we have seen is we've seen a number of acres come out of production. So there comes that, if you will, that offsetting factor on keeping the farm size relatively stable. One of the others is farm structure, and I really like to talk a little bit about this one, is on the farm structure. It really boils down to diversification. And if you look historically on a family farm, for instance, you might have row crop, you might have livestock, and you still have that to a certain degree. But diversification today is really looking at diversification within a segment. So for instance, if you have a farmer who's a row crop farmer and they're raising corn and soybeans, they might say, okay, now I want to raise edible beans. I can still farm in pretty much a similar fashion as I do with soybeans, but now I have an additional crop. Or I'm growing corn, but now I'm going to grow organic corn as another crop because I found a market for it. And I think there's some diversification. One other thing I'd like to point out too, though, is diversification also comes in terms of not just the crops, but the way in which you handle them. So before, if you were just milking, today you might be milking and also processing to a certain degree, making butter or selling milk solids or even cheese or whatever. So you're starting to see some vertical integration in some of these operations, which does alter the farm structure a little bit. So a lot of diversification, but pretty much all in a good way.
Yeah, labor and automation. It's really fascinating to see the strides that have been made. And I love the fact that we're here tonight talking about that we're taking a moment to celebrate the strides. Everybody just keeps working in the ag industry, but tonight we get to celebrate. Rachel and Christian, you've both been on the front lines of agricultural education and advocacy. This is huge, especially for young people like you. You know that. I'm so grateful that you recognize that. Talk about how it's driving positive changes in your community and beyond. And Rachel, for those who may not know about FFA, can you explain a little bit more about it?
Yeah, so I think many remember when FFA stood for Future Farmers of America, but it doesn't anymore. It's just the National FFA organization. And that's because FFA is for more than just those who want to go into production ag. It includes all the supporting roles as well. Anyone who just has an appreciation for agriculture can be an FFA. And FFA is a student-led organization that really helps with career and personal development. You learn a lot of skills that will grow you professionally, from public speaking and others, but also a lot of skills that can really relate to specific career interests like ag mechanics or floriculture. So it just allows students to explore all the possibilities and different paths that they can take through their high school journey and through FFA.
Ah, I love it. And what a great way to just stay connected to other well-rounded, positive students who are not addicted to their phones, playing video games all day. You guys are out there doing these SAE projects. We're going to talk a little bit more about that. It's just so inspirational to see this from the next generation. As FFA plays a pivotal role in shaping our next generation of agriculturalists, Christian, talk about your journey and how it's impacted your perspective overall on the ag industry.
Yeah, my perspective, it may be a little bit different than all of you. I didn't grow up on a farm, but I did have those pivotal moments through the FFA organization and through my small town. You know, the FFA was a transformative experience for me. From the first day I walked into an ag classroom, Mr. Johnson, he made it his mission. He saw something in me, and you know, I thank him and my other advisor, Ms. Meyer, for pushing me to continue to step out of my comfort zone. Because if it wasn't for, you know, going to competitions, that whether I was up in front of people giving a speech, or I was doing a sales pitch for ag sales, you know, those things, they challenged me to get out of my comfort zone and make me into a better leader. And it's things that I can take away and continue to use after my time in college. But one thing that you already mentioned it a little bit was SAEs, which is a supervised ag experience. For me, that's something that I really dove deep into. When I came into FFA, I had established a lawn and landscape company, and the FFA really allowed me to pursue that passion. And so throughout that experience, I was able to learn things from accounting and finance, how to talk to customers, and then even how to network with people whenever we got out of town. One thing that really stuck out to me about the FFA was the first time I got to go to national convention. And talk about an eye-opening experience. You realize just the vast opportunities that the ag industry has to offer, and being able to step out of my comfort zone into a city that I'd never been before, it really just opened up my eyes to the possibilities of what a future could look like.
Well, you know, I think of the possibilities. I have a young son, he's 4 years old, and to think that he could turn out to be like you, that's inspiring. And I know there's other moms out there watching tonight, and you, yes, ma'am, yes, sir, this is what you hear from students that are in the FFA organization, and it's just beautiful. From CLAAS's perspective, and I know that you have attended a convention or two. Tell me a little bit about why it's important to invest in this organization as a company. You know it as an individual personally, but as a company.
Yeah, I mean, if you, notwithstanding the two great examples that we have here, going to the national convention, and I go back to when I was their age and I got to go, but then fast forward a few decades, and I got to go back again, and it was really an awe-inspiring event. Obviously, when I was there as a student, it was something that was like you. I mean, I got to go to the big city of Kansas City for the first time from Southwest Kentucky. But when I went back, I saw something the same, and I saw something different. I saw that same excitement, that same enthusiasm, but I saw so many more people. And not many places that you can go where you have over 70,000 of those two people there that want to be there, that are invested in agriculture, and that we can have really good conversations about what does their future look like, what does our future look like, and how do we work together to really propel agriculture into the next generation. It's phenomenal. So we as a company look at this opportunity as like a unique, and I don't know of any other industry in the world where we have such a great platform, not only for us to talk about CLAAS as an example with them, but for these young people to tell us what they're looking for in the future, not just from the machinery business, but more importantly from agriculture. What are the roles and responsibilities that they're wanting to take on in the future? And it was so interesting because I get to talk about SAEs, and the SAEs that they have are from everything you can imagine. I talked to one young man, and his role or his job for the summer was to refurbish their county fairgrounds. And he went through and talked about how he painted all the pens, and they had the livestock judging. And it was just amazing to someone who had their own forage harvesting business and everything in between. So it's just so great, though, to see young people, number one, interested in agriculture, and number two, know that just because you're in that industry doesn't limit you. It gives you more opportunities than you would otherwise have.
More opportunities. And those who are watching tonight, I mean, it's pretty inspiring. This is the next generation. The ag industry is one of those industries in this country right now that I don't think we have to worry about a lot because we have great people like you stepping up. Now, we need more. I mean, there is concern, even at the highest levels of government, about filling these roles in agriculture going forward. So tonight, if you're inspired, seriously, we encourage you to consider a career in the ag industry with a great company like CLAAS, potentially. You know, we're going to pause for a quick break. We're just getting started. National Ag Day is what we're preparing for. It's Tuesday, but CLAAS is getting us ready early. We want to invite you into this conversation, and you might just be a winner tonight. Maybe you can answer this question. What are you doing, or what changes have you made to help make your farm more efficient or better? Or maybe you have a positive experience from the FFA you'd like to share with us, or just to tell these kids, these young people, how encouraged you are by what they're doing, the steps that they're taking to better this country, to better this industry. We want to hear from you tonight. Let's have a conversation. Plus, you can also shout out your local FFA chapter on the air. One lucky winner is not only going to win that CLAAS Pelican Cooler, CLAAS is going to donate $500 to your local FFA chapter if you are the winner. We're going to open up those phone lines right now. 877-731-6733 is the number to call. Stay with us. When we hear back, you're going to hear more about the cutting-edge technology, how it continues to gain greater efficiency for our farmers. The CLAAS name continues to live up to its reputation. Find out what's new with CLAAS after this. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Rural America Live. We are excited to have you with us for a very special episode. CLAAS is with us celebrating National Ag Day, and we are coming to you live from the CLAAS studios in Nashville, Tennessee. Joining us tonight, Eric Raby, Senior Vice President of CLAAS Americas Region. Rachel Tunason. And I love that, Tunason, former state officer from Iowa, also state reporter for the state of Iowa. Tunason may just come in very handy as a last name one day. And of course, we also welcome Christian Pena, state president of the Kansas FFA chapter. They're here to help answer your questions tonight, and it's all about celebrating Ag Day, the next generation that is fueled to meet the agricultural challenges that farmers face now and what they will face in the future. Our phone lines are open. Pick up that phone if you'd like to. Give us a call, and you might just be a winner. 877-731-6733. One lucky winner will not only win the CLAAS Pelican Cooler, but CLAAS is also going to donate $500 to your local FFA chapter if you are the winner. You can ask any question, but we'd like to know, what are you doing, or what changes have you made to help make your farm more efficient or better? Plus, you can always give a shout out to your local FFA chapter live on the air. Again, that number is 877-731-6733. And if you don't win tonight, you can register for a second chance to win at home. All you have to do is use your smartphone, scan that QR code on your screen, or visit agday.claas.com to register. The winner will be announced on Ag Day, which is March 19th. Eric, CLAAS is known for its cutting-edge technology, well known for its cutting-edge technology. From combines to harvesters to tractors, hay tools, the list goes on. But talk about how you create these technologies, how they change the farm, how you stay ahead of the competition.
The number one thing that we try to do is listen. One of the things that all of us in the company really take time to do as much as we possibly can is to go out and talk to farmers and ranchers and say, you know, we're not necessarily here to sell you something. Maybe that comes later. But really, what are the challenges and the opportunities that you're facing today? What are the things that you're going to face tomorrow? And what are some of the things that we might be able to do on the equipment side that could help? You know, if we talk about inputs and we talk about labor deficiencies and we talk about rising input cost and lowering commodity prices, you know, to a certain degree, some of those things we can't influence. But if we say commodity prices are variable, they always have been. The big thing we can do is help maximize what you have put your blood, sweat, and tears into, and to get that harvest in and to make sure every bit of that crop comes in. So those are some of the things that we're really trying to do is say, what are the problems that you're facing? How can we address that with the machinery that we have? But also, how can we start to introduce the technology? And I think that's one of the things that, you know, an underlying theme of all the agricultural discussions that we have these days, you can't run away, nor should you run away from talking about technology, because it's really a friend. It really is.
And CLAAS truly puts the precision in precision agriculture. And I think part of the way that you're able to do that is by listening to farmers and getting out there, pounding the pavement and talking to farmers and listening to what they have to say, putting it to use.
Yeah, I think one of the things that we really try to distill it down to is what can we do that will either save time or make money? In many cases, if we can do both at the same time, that's perfect. Because if we can make them more money, obviously that makes their business more sustainable. And if we can save them more time, that gives them time to go to their local FFA chapter to judge a contest.
That's right. Absolutely. We're going to go straight to the phones. Teaser joins us from Kansas tonight. Thanks for joining us, Teaser. Go right ahead.
Hi there. Just want to comment, and those two young individuals are doing fantastic. And a great memory, two things, a great memory and a question at the end was many years ago, or a couple of years ago, I was able to attend a national convention as a sponsor, and it was fabulous to see all these young individuals, and amazing to see how many students were there. So excited about the FFA, and to the students, to each one of them, what can school boards do to make sure that our FFA programs continue to thrive in Kansas or nationally as well?
Christian?
Yeah, that's a loaded question. You know, I would say, you know, when it comes down to it, you know, FFA is an intercurricular organization. It works right alongside with the curriculum that's being placed in the classrooms. And when it comes down to it, you know, sending those kids to national convention and to competitions, it's hard to put into words because, you know, for me, I couldn't do sports growing up. And so FFA was my team. And so being able to represent at the state level or at the district level, even at the national level, it gives us the opportunity to step out of our comfort zones, you know, meet new people, network. And then on top of that, it also gives us that ability to be able to, you know, go up to somebody who we don't know and have a conversation with them. And as we continue to see this, you know, the best thing that a school board or even a school can do is, you know, let the students see the opportunities. Let them go out there and chase what they're passionate about.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for that call. We appreciate you so much, Teaser. Jimmy from North Carolina joins us next. Thanks for joining us, Jimmy. Go right ahead. Jimmy?
Yes.
Hey.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, go right ahead.
I'm sorry. Yes, I'm trying to find out how young kids nowadays, when they get out of school, can get involved with somebody like CLAAS, you know, for an internship or if they want to decide whether they want to go into agriculture or agricultural equipment, one of the two. There's no real way for them to know, I guess. I've had twin grandsons that's been raising produce, and they're still in high school, and they got a real good FFA group. But they would like to pursue something when they get out of high school, whether it's going to be agriculture or the equipment business, you know. But how can they get involved with CLAAS or somebody like that?
That's a very good question. I think we're always looking for, we're always looking for really good people. And I would really encourage, and we've seen a kind of a shortage of this, of kids that want to go into the trades, because we're always looking for technicians, we're looking for salespeople, we're looking now for people that want to get into technology. So I would encourage your student that you're talking about to talk to their advisor in high school, first of all. If they have a FFA advisor, that's even better, to talk about different avenues. But I would encourage you also to go, as an example, on our website, CLAAS.com. We have a listing of all the career opportunities, all the way from professional level down to intern level. And Rachel, you're a shining example of one of those who started out at a very young age. And I did the same thing. Part of my SAE was working for a dealership during the summer as a technician. I wasn't very good at it, but I still got my credit for it. But I would encourage them to reach out to their FFA advisor at the local level. But then please feel free to go to CLAAS.com, look up the careers that we have, and there's an opportunity where you can contact us directly.
Excellent, excellent. And what a great question. Next up, we have Cheryl of Alabama. Thanks for joining us, Cheryl. Go right ahead.
Thank you. First of all, I would just like to say how proud I am of these two FFA members here. They're encouraging other people to join FFA. And I would like to give a shout out to Southern Choctaw High School FFA in Gilbertown, Alabama. Our daughter, Gina Owens, is the agri-science teacher there.
Love to hear that.
Big shout out. We can't get enough great ag teachers. So to all the ag teachers out there tonight, thank you for the hard work that you do, and especially those who take on students like you, who take them under their wing as mentors. The roles that you play are so important. Our ag teachers, those of you who've had the chance to work with a teacher closely, can you explain a little bit, Rachel, about what it's like to have a mentor and how that really helped you reach president, and now you're an intern at CLAAS, and you're still rather young, but you've come so far. Who was it who helped you?
A lot of people. No, I remember starting out back home, it was my family. It was my uncles. They were all there to support and encourage me, and they instilled that appreciation for ag in me right away. And then it continued through FFA. My ag teachers there, they surrounded me and encouraged me, continued to help me grow and give me connections. The old fellers at the threshing bees back home, where they tried to teach me all about tractors and stuff. I'm trying my best to remember, but there's just such a large community, and they're all there to help the next generation, to help those younger than them, to pass on the knowledge to them, to get them to continue to grow. So to ask who's that one person, it's really hard because it's a whole community of people.
It takes a village. It takes a village. Okay, we have quite a few callers upstairs, and make sure that you call 877-731-6733 because you could be a winner tonight. John from Massachusetts joins us next. Thanks for joining us, John. Go right ahead.
Yes, like I was telling your operator to answer the phone, the other Saturday we had a conference here in our town with ag representatives from all over, trying to help the farmers understand this climate change. And we had extensive flooding last summer and a lot of crop damage due to a river that goes through the valley here, Connecticut River. But some of the commentators brought the question up with a slogan, I think. What's her name there? Taylor Swift mentioned put the farmer back in the driver's seat or operator's seat. And I think that's what we have to do, put the farmer back in the driver's seat of all this, because we need food. We don't need dollars, but we need food on the table.
Very true, very true. I think one of the things, too, we talk about, especially we get sometimes a little sideways with the political aspect of our society, and I think especially when they start talking to farmers about conservation or environment, farmers, in my mind, are the best stewards of the land that you'll find anywhere in the world, and I think the rest of the world could find a lot of really good lessons from looking at agriculture and the way that we take care of things without having to be told to do so, because it makes sense. And with sensible solutions come good outcomes. And when we try to force things from an environmental standpoint that make people feel good but aren't really doing anything, especially those that don't know the impact of agriculture, then we're walking a very fine line. And I agree with the caller that we've really got to, as an agricultural community, come together and really talk about what are the things that we're doing, how are we doing those, and organizations like the FFA, events like National Ag Day are our platform. It's where we can unify those voices together and really become advocates for ourselves and get more cheerleaders on board.
That's right, with megaphones, hopefully. We're going to go to New York for our next call where Greg joins us. Thanks for joining us tonight. What's on your mind, Greg?
I just think it's great. CLAAS is there working with FFA. I don't know what we got. Do we have FFA? I see them selling at our farm shows, but I went to a meeting today, and I look at the population of our farmers, and most of them are in their 60s and 70s, and I think we really got to work at getting some more young people interested in the business. To get more young farmers so we have a future here, and that's kind of what I'm saying. That's how I feel, and I see solar coming along, and some people get sold out for the money, but farmers, it's in your blood, and it's not all about the money. It's about taking care of the land and using it and making a valuable crops and food for people, and it's not all about the almighty dollar. We got to make a living, but we got to have quality stuff and technology to do it, and we use a bunch of CLAAS hay, all in our hay operation, which is good quality products. And
yes, indeed.
so it's kind of what I was wondering if anybody with FA, what you guys see in our area.
Yeah, from our perspective, you bring up a good point. We talk about agriculture and we talk about all the different roles and things, but one of the things we probably aren't talking about enough is who's actually going to be doing the farming. Yeah. And technology will take up a lot of that as far as the labor part of things. But when it comes to operating an ongoing farming operation, if we take a look at the age of farms, as he brought up, that's an issue for us that we need to be talking about. And I think it's probably an opportunity for us to start steering some of these young people toward careers in production agriculture. Maybe not necessarily in the technology side of things by itself or the media side of things by itself, but really saying, hey, how would you like to farm? And that's one of the things, too, that becomes a bit of a generational change, because if you take a look at it, farms have either passed hands through generations of the same family or they've been sold off. And the question is now, is there an opportunity for someone outside of a family perhaps to come into a family operation and take over that operation at some point? Yeah. So it's something I think is a good conversation that we could all have together.
Absolutely. It doesn't have to be an immediate family member. You can start looking out to third cousins if you have to, but keep that farm in the family.
Right.
All right. We're going to Kansas where Sage joins us now. Thanks for joining us, Sage. Go right ahead.
Hello from Kansas. Hey, Kristen. FFA it's pretty typical for the impact of an ag teacher on young people to be a universal experience. So we were wondering if the current and past FFA members in the room could touch on the impact their ag teacher had on them.
Take this one first.
Oh my gosh, where can I start with my ag teachers? They are the most wonderful people. Like, they invest their all into their students, like everything. So much time, so much knowledge. I know my FFA advisors, amazing. I couldn't ask for better people. They stuck with me through everything, checked up on me while I was in state office to make sure I was doing well, and were just always so supportive and wanted to see me succeed in whatever way success looked like to me. And they always created the most fun stories, best sayings ever, but they're just great people.
Yeah, to add to that, I mean, an ag teacher, they're like no other teacher for me. Going throughout school, I always felt like, the teachers were there, but, they weren't there for the students. But, as soon as I hit the ag classroom, it was a completely different story. As soon as I got that teacher who was willing to, take an interest in me and, explore that passion and be able, I look back, and one of my ag teachers was a past state president. And, having a mentor, who had the same dream and had the same goal that I had in the end, it helped change the entire perspective of, my view on life and how I wanted to take my career. So when it comes down to it's hard to just say that an ag teacher makes a huge impact, but like we all said earlier, it takes an entire community, it takes a village, and thanks to the community around us, they're able to pour into the ag teacher, and the ag teacher is able to pour into the students that they teach every day.
And every single student member that I've spoken with in the FFA organization has a similar story. That it always goes back to typically one ag teacher that really took the time. And teachers are working really hard in the public school system as it is. And so they're taking their own personal time on top of a hard day's work to spend with you. And that's why we salute you tonight. It's all about the Ag Teachers FFA organization, agriculture in general. We are getting ready to celebrate Ag Day and all of the components that support agriculture in this country. Now, we're going to pause for a quick break. Stay with us, though. We still have the phone lines open and your opportunity to be a winner. 877-731-6733. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back to Rural America Live. We have experts along with us, do I say, both old and young tonight? And where do I fall in that? Thank you so much for joining us. We're celebrating Ag Day, and it comes down to understanding the entire agricultural industry, from farmers to manufacturers to FFA members and everything in between. Now, if you have a question or a comment, our phone lines are open. We'd love to hear from you. Give us a call tonight. The number is 877-731-6733. Plus, you still have a chance to win that Pelican CLAAS cooler. We're going to give away a second cooler as well. Let's get that QR code up on the screen so everybody has a chance to scan that one more time. Go ahead and grab your phone. This is going to give you an opportunity to win a second cooler. So one lucky on-air caller will get the cooler, and a second lucky winner will win from this QR code. Or if you don't like the QR code, you can just go to agday.claas.com and you'll get another chance to win that second cooler. We have a lot to talk about in a little bit of time. We're going to go to Hunter from Canada, taking the show international across our northern border tonight. Hunter, what's on your mind tonight? Thanks for joining us.
Hey, I am a first-time viewer here. I was just stumbling across your channel and figured, hey, I'd give you a call. We have bought a CLAAS combine this fall, and it has changed our farm for the better. It has done very well for us in terms of efficiency and improving all-around harvest benefit. And I think that Pelican cooler there would look really good inside of my CLAAS combine.
That was a vicious plug, wasn't it?
No, thank you for that. Thank you, Hunter. We appreciate that. We were just talking about how large of a market for a CLAAS machinery is in Canada.
Oh, it's a phenomenal market for us. If you take a look all the way from Quebec, especially the western provinces, it's really a main market for us. But I think that Hunter brought up a good point. We talk about technology, and we kind of kick things off talking about that. But it's so important as we talk about being advocates for agriculture, and we can use technology to help us spread that message. Not just through social media, but just all the advancements that we see in technology. He brought up his CLAAS combine, and thank you, by the way, for that. Appreciate it. But we do take that very seriously in taking a look at the technology that we have. Give you an example. I try to put technology into two different categories. One is covert, and the other is overt. Overt is what you would see in an autonomous machine without a driver. I mean, it's obvious that there's technology that's moving that machine. On the other hand, there's covert or behind-the-scenes technology, like in Hunter's combine, for instance, that are making settings to that machine on the fly. It's adjusting to different moisture conditions, different yield output, whatever, and really optimizing that machine without having to have a human being involved in that. So it goes back to one of the things we talked about in labor. If I can take someone who is a very good driver, maybe not the best combine operator, but I have some level of autonomy on a machine, my labor issue automatically goes down a little bit because now I have a broader group of people that I can bring into the operation to move that machine around and operate it. So technology is really a great thing, and that's what we're trying to do, is to optimize it.
Even Uncle Earl could take on that co-pilot seat, huh?
Exactly. Take the wheel.
I love that. And I love that we've come to this point that there is machinery that can operate at that level. I mean, does this machinery, the Lexion, does this ever blow your mind?
It does. I mean, we just introduced last November at the Agritechnica show in Germany, we introduced our new 12 Series Xerion tractor that's already first level autonomy. It'll be a co-pilot situation to start with, but the second level that we already have in the roadmap will then involve that machine being able to do all of those tasks, we'll call them mundane tasks, like tillage, for instance, but it's going to be able to optimize that particular practice without the need of an operator. The farmer still gets to be in control of where that machine goes, when it does what or whatever, but when that machine is in the field, whether it's artificial intelligence or the farmer inputting the data or a combination of those two things, it's going to be able to optimize any operation. So it's really, really great stuff. And one other point I'd like to make, all of this is not possible without data. And for farmers, they never need to forget two things. Number one, they generate and own the data. But number two, they have to use the data.
Yes.
Because we have just petabytes of data sitting around that we've gotten off machines. And if we don't ever use that, it's not going to help us optimize our operation. So I would encourage farmers, if you're using technology today, please keep doing so. If you're not, start small, but start using it and seeing how it can make your operation better. And let us know, because we like to ask questions, how can we incorporate some of these changes to the machines that we make in the future?
You're always trying to get better at CLAAS, at very, very respectable work that you're doing there. We're going to go back to the phones where John joins us from Massachusetts tonight. Thanks for joining us, John. Go right ahead.
Yes, a shout out. I called earlier just to shout out the Smith Vocational High School here in Northampton, Mass. FFA chapter. Again, great bunch of people that operate out that unit. Again, thank you very much, FFA.
You want to shout out your own chapter since we're doing this right now?
I want to shout out Sublette FFA. I mean, it gave me a lot, and I hope eventually when I get back home that I can give back to them as well, just as they gave to me.
How about you?
West Lyon, go get it, man. You got it.
Take such pride. It's funny. You can tell how important these chapters are to you. Just the way that you light up getting an opportunity to shout out a chapter. That says something. It's been almost a year since our partnership announcement of the CLAAS studios here in Nashville. Can you share why RFD TV is important when it comes to sharing the agricultural message? I mean, I know why it's important, but what does CLAAS think?
Well, this has just been a shining example of and a reinforcement to us that we made the absolute right decision to partner with RFD TV. The sounding board that it gives us to talk about these ideas, but then to also bring them out and talk to people, that's one thing. But to hear from the viewers too, telling us about what's working well, what are some areas of opportunity. It goes back to going out on the farm and listening is really great, but this is also really great as well, as hearing from people and really able to reach a broad audience. And we would never have been able not only to get the CLAAS brand more known throughout North America than we could have with RFD TV. There was no way possible. But the good thing about it is that partnership, hopefully what we've seen is the messaging is not only going to help us with CLAAS, but we're talking about agriculture. And at the end of the day, whether it's FFA, or whether it's CLAAS, or whether it's RFD TV, we're all involved in the same thing. And it's all our, not only duty, but our privilege to do it together. And we're so happy to be involved with RFD TV.
Oh, we're grateful to have you. And whether these discussions are taking place in Washington, D.C. with members of Congress, or around the family dinner table, or you're meeting new people in the grocery store and talking about food because you're starting a conversation to get the word out, that's what this is about, delivering that message, the positive message of American agriculture. We have a winner to announce. Can we get a drum roll? I bet you we can get a drum roll in this group. All right. It's Hunter from Canada. It's going to look great. That cooler on your CLAAS Combine. Congratulations, sir. And remember, you still have an opportunity to win at home. Let's get that QR code up on the screen one more time. So you have an opportunity to grab your smartphone, scan that QR code, and you can register online. You can also do so at agday.claas.com, and you'll get another chance to win a second cooler. So Hunter's not going to be the only winner tonight. We will announce the second winner on March 19th. All right. I want to give everybody a final opportunity to share their thoughts. Christian, let's start with you.
Tonight, it was an honor to be here sitting with you all here in Nashville. But something that I really took away from the callers that came in was, seize every opportunity that you get, take the risk, because, at the end of the day, you get one shot at it. And so, from what we all heard is, technology is continuing to change how we do things. So, how can we embrace it and make sure that we're able to feed America with the cards that we've been dealt? So continuing to advocate for agriculture, whether that's through social media or RFD TV, we all have our own way to give back to our communities and give back to our world. So it's all about what's next.
It's all about agriculture. I love that. It's so well said. Does that inspire you?
It does.
We get another chance for some inspiration now.
Oh boy, no pressure. No, I would echo everything that Christian said. FFA, just thinking back to all the amazing memories, all the amazing opportunities, it's so easy to tell someone to just say yes, and they really should, because I was told once by a very wise man that, how are you going to fail? Because when you fail, you learn more than when you succeed. So there's my old and wise inspo.
But to know that at your age, I love that. And you're sharing that right now with the national audience. That is very good advice. That's wisdom that you're sharing that we appreciate so much. What's great? Hunter from Canada does not have an FFA chapter up in Canada, so he is donating that $500 to John of Massachusetts, who called in. So look at that. The ag community working in harmony, even right now tonight. I just want to thank everybody for watching, for joining this conversation. Remember to celebrate National Ag Day on March 19th. Wishing you and your family a beautifully blessed evening from the CLAAS studios in Nashville, Tennessee.